Okay, everybody, we are going to practice some predictions. Remember that predictions mean proportions. If you have your notes from yesterday, please look at them so you can review the steps. Our first step is find the theoretical probability. Then you'll set up a proportion, fill in the blanks, and finally solve. Remember, to solve a proportion, you multiply across and then divide by the number left over. Also, remember that we are grading your work as well as your answer. So we need to see those proportions or ratio boxes. We need to see your division, your multiplication, etc. Okay? All right, let's start. Number one says Arian flips a quarter and spins the spinner below. Okay, spinner's right here in case you didn't notice. What's the probability of the quarter landing on tails and the spinner landing on B? Okay, first, is this a prediction or is it regular theoretical probability? This is just regular theoretical probability. However, there are two separate events, the quarter and the spinner. So that means you're going to need two separate probabilities. Remember, when you have multiple probabilities, you multiply. So we'll go ahead and set that up. Now, it says Arian flips a quarter. How many sides are on a quarter? Okay, so there's our total. Total is always on the bottom. I'll write a reminder over here, number of what you're looking for over the total. Sorry about my ink. Okay, and then it says, what's the probability of the quarter landing tails? How many tails are in a quarter? 1. And what's the probability of it spinning on B? Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total sections. We're looking for B. There's 1 B. Okay, now when you multiply, you're multiplying straight across. Okay, nothing crazy. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, done. That's your answer. Okay, for number 2, unless you've been instructed to skip it, we need to do a little bit of editing. Okay, what's the probability of flipping a coin? We're going to say flipping heads on a coin. Heads on a coin. And spinning a vowel. Okay, so remember that vowels are A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y. Okay, is this a prediction or regular theoretical probability? It's not saying we expect something to happen or what do you think is going to happen. So this is just regular theoretical probability. Okay, so first, let's set up our probabilities. We have the probabilities of flipping a heads. And then we have the probability of spinning a vowel. Okay, so I'm going to label it just so we stay organized. Totals always go on the bottom. What you're looking for goes on the top. So how many heads are on a coin? Fill that in right here. Okay, total goes on the bottom for the spinner. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total goes on the bottom. And we're looking for vowels. Okay, so I want you to circle the vowels on your spinner and then put that number right here. Then you're going to multiply across. So you'll multiply the heads times the vowels to get an answer. And then 2 times 5 is 10. Okay. If you need to simplify, please do it. Go ahead and pause and solve. All right, let's move on. So Stephanie rolls a number cube. What's a number cube? It's just a dice. Okay, it's a fancy word for a dice. Okay, so Stephanie rolls a dice. That has some numbers 1 to 6. So I'm gonna write the numbers so I have a sample space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's the probability of it landing on a 2 or a 4? Okay, we only have one probability here. So it's gonna be super simple. Always, always, always on the bottom is our total. How many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6. And it says we're looking for a 2 or a 5. So we need to circle a 2 and a 5. Okay, how many did we circle? 2. So that's what goes on top. You have to simplify this. This is not the correct answer. 2 out of 6 is not correct, okay? So what number can you divide both of these numbers by? 2. So divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is, there's your answer. Okay, pause. All right, Jonathan has a bag. It has, I'm going to draw a picture here. No, yeah, I'm going to draw a picture. Okay, so here's my bag. Looks like a box, but it's bag. Okay, it has 2 red. So I'm going to put 2 red and 3 blue marbles. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you were to pick one marble from the bag without looking, what's the probability of not picking red? Okay, so don't forget about that knot. It's super important. Okay, so first, remember our total goes on the bottom. That's super easy to do. So let's do that first. What's our total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 is our total. Okay, now we're going to circle what we're looking for. So how many are not red? 3. So that means 3 are not red over our total. Okay, word ratios help a lot whenever you need to stay organized. All right, now we're going to get into actual predictions. Okay, I know that because it literally says make a prediction based on theoretical probability. Show your work. Thank you for the reminder, paper. That was super important. The probability of flipping a coin and it landing on heads, is 1/2. Wow, it already gave us something. That is our theoretical probability. Write it down. If a coin is tossed 4 times, how many times can you expect it to land on heads? Okay, this word expect means prediction, in case you didn't listen or read the thing before. Expect means to predict, okay? So step 1, theoretical probability. They gave that to me. Hallelujah. Step 2, set up a proportion. So we're going to make this a proportion. Okay? You also need a word ratio, okay? So we're talking about, what are we looking for? Heads. That looks like deads. It's heads over total. Okay? All right, and then it says a coin is tossed 4 times. Now remember, on the other side of your proportion, or if you're using a ratio box, this works too. You need an X and you need the new total. Okay, so we're looking for how many heads. Since we're looking for heads, our question mark is heads, which means our X is heads. The new total is how many times they're going to do something. So how many times are they doing it? 4 times. That is the ugliest 4 I've ever written. That's okay. All right, so now to solve a proportion, remember you always multiply across and then divide. So I'm going to multiply across. You need to draw your arrows. Okay, 4 times 1 is 4. Divide by the number left over. Circle your number left over. 4 divided by 2 is 2. If you don't know why, that's because 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so my answer is 2. Go ahead and pause that, make sure you understand it, rewind it if you need to, and then we'll move on. All right, number 6, it says the probability of a number cube, that's the same thing as a dice, landing on a 4 is 1 out of 6. Oh my gosh, they gave me the theoretical probability again. They're so nice. A number cube is tossed 12 times. How many times can you expect it to land on 4? Okay, so this is great. They already gave me theoretical probability. We're looking for the number 4 over the total. We need to set up our proportions because prediction means proportions, okay? They gave me the theoretical probability. I can go ahead and fill in that section of my proportion. Remember, I need to put an X somewhere and the new total somewhere, okay? We have this 12. The 12 is the new number of times they're going to flip it. So that's our total number of flips. So the 12 is going to go on the bottom, which means my X goes in the blank left over. You're going to multiply across. You're going to solve this. Okay, so multiply across and then divide by the number left over. Then you'll have your answer. Please make sure you have all this written. It needs to look exactly like mine. Put your answer in a box. Okay, pause and solve it. All right, number 7. It says Jessica flips a coin and spins a spinner below 50 times. Wow, that's a lot. How many times can she expect? Expect means prediction, okay? The spinner to land on A and the coin to land on heads. All right, this one's a little complicated because first I have to find the combined theoretical probability. Then I can set up my proportion. Okay, so first, how many times can I expect a coin to land on heads? 1 out of 2. You should know that. Okay. And then how many times can you expect the spinner to land on A? How many A's are there? 1. Out of how many total? 5. When you have multiple probabilities, you need to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 5 is 10. Now I have my combined theoretical probability. Now remember, it says expect, so we have a prediction. Predictions mean proportion, so set up your proportion. You also need a word ratio. Okay, total always goes on the bottom. On top, we're looking for A and heads. So I'll put A and heads on top, okay? Remember, if I'm going too fast, guys, please pause and rewind. Do this as many times as you need, okay? Now, my theoretical probability I just found, so I'm going to plug it in. And then on the other side of my proportion, an X and the total, the new total needs to go somewhere, okay? I'm looking for the probability of A and heads, so that's going to go on top. My new total is this 50. Okay, now you are going to solve the rest by yourself because you're super smart and you can. You're going to multiply across and then divide by the number left over. Then you'll have your answer. Okay, pause and solve. Okay, number 8. A spinner is divided into 4 equal sections. Oh, look, it gives you theoretical probability. The probability of landing on A is 1/4. They're so nice. Norma spins the spinner 16 times and rolls a number cube. How many times can she expect the spinner to land on A and roll an odd number? Okay, so we have a compound or combined probability first before I put it into a proportion. Okay, so probability of spinning an A is 1 out of 4. They just told me that. But I need to find the theoretical probability of rolling an odd number. Okay, so let's write down all the numbers on a number cube or a dice. Let's circle the odd ones, because that's what I'm looking for. Okay, how many is that? 3 out of 6 total. Please simplify stuff before you start multiplying. It makes your life a lot easier. Okay, so 3/6 is equal to 1/2. All right, so I'm going to put 1/2 because that's odd numbers. When you have multiple probabilities, you need to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, now I'm going to erase this and get it out of my way. I'm ready to set up a proportion because this is a prediction. Okay, word ratio, total is always in the bottom. In this particular one, we're looking for A and odd numbers. Okay, so I'm going to plug in my theoretical probability. And now I need to put my X and my new total somewhere. I want you guys to do the rest of this by yourself. Okay, so I'll put no, I'm not even going to do it. Put your X somewhere, put your 16 somewhere, multiply across, and divide by the number left over. Okay, pause and solve. All right, last one. The probability of picking a blue pen from a cup of pens is 1/3. Tim picks one pen from the cup without looking, records the color, and then puts it back. He does this 15 times. How many times can he expect? There's that word that knows it's a prediction to pick a blue pen. Okay, you guys should be experts at this by now. So I'm going to set up your word ratio for you. Why am I writing so badly today, y'all? I don't know. Okay, so here's your word ratio. Totals on the bottom, and you're looking for blue pens. They already gave you your theoretical probability to plug in. Here's a number that's important, 15. Remember, on this side needs to be an x and total. Okay, so plug that in, solve it, show your work. Good job.